Hey, what's up, YouTube fans? So what I wanted to talk about in this video, right, is not only does the body have developmental mechanisms for organizing the body in various ways, such as bilateral symmetry, where the left side mirrors the right side, right? But then these organized patterns of the body can manifest in the variations that occur within a species, right? Even variations that the vast majority of organisms within the species do not have, right? The variation can still occur bilaterally symmetrically, right? And so if someone does not understand something like that, they would struggle more so with understanding how evolution works, right? Because they would think like, oh, the left side and the right side just had to like evolve totally separately and then just coincidentally evolve in the same way, when in reality it doesn't have to work like that. The variations that occur, right, often occur bilaterally symmetrical in the first step that it occurs. And so it doesn't have to be evolved separately. It can evolve in unison for the left side and the right side. So like what you'll notice, right, if you look at different people's ears, is there are many variations of the human ears in terms of the shape, the size. Some people, the bottom part of their ear is more so fused against their head, right? And, some people have particularly big ears or particularly small ears. There's differences of like how the helix of the ear folds. You'll find different variations such as this, right? And yet, even though there's much diversity between different humans of the shape of their ears, the size of them, etc., for any given human, it will tend to be the same for the left one versus the right one, more so the same, right? So like if the bottom part of their left ear is like more so fused against their head, right, it would tend to be the same for the right ear, right? Or if they have whatever type of unique type of shape with their left ear, we would oftentimes see the same exact unique shape on the right ear, right? Even if it's a unique thing that you don't see on most people's ears, right? Or if a person has exceptionally large ears, right, it would tend to be both on their left side, for their left ear exceptionally big, and then also for their right ear, and to about the same degree, right? Whereas also if they have exceptionally small ears, right, like an exceptionally small left ear, right, it would tend to also be the same way on the right and to the same degree, right? And, we see with the eyes that there are different variations. Like, for example, the color, right? Some people have green eyes, some people have blue eyes, some people have brown eyes, etc. But while there's these variations of the eye color for any given person, it will tend to be the same from left to right, right? So even though there's plenty of people with brown eyes and there's plenty of people with blue eyes, for any given person that has a blue left eye, they will tend to also have a blue right eye, right? Or for any given person that has a brown left eye, they will tend to have a brown right eye. There are some exceptions to that, but generally that's how it works, right? Also, another variation of the eye, some people have what's called an epicanthic fold, right, which is an extra fold of skin over their eyes, right? And this is especially common in some Asian populations, which is why you might have heard and you might have noticed that there's a type of like way that the eye will tend to look shaped in Asian people that you would not as commonly see in non-Asian people, right? And this is because there's this extra fold of skin. The medical term for it is epicanthic fold. and it's especially common in some Asian populations. It's not found in all Asian people, mind you, though, and there are some non-Asian people that have it, right? But in any event, while plenty of people have an epicanthic fold and plenty of people don't, for any given person that has it, if they have it on their left eye, they will tend to also have it on their right eye, right? Also, even though there's plenty of variations of height for people, right? For any given person, their left leg and their right leg will tend to be the same length, right? Even Robert Ladlow, who was the tallest person ever known to live, he was, I think, 10 feet tall or close to 10 feet tall. And even though he had freakishly long legs, longer than any other person's legs are ever known to have been, it wasn't just like that with like one of them and then the other one was a more average length. No, it was, both the left one and the right one were exceptionally long to about the same degree, right? And likewise, for people that are exceptionally short, right, it will tend to be, for both their left and their right leg and to about the same degree. And even for any given individual, people's legs will tend to change their length throughout their life from, when they're a baby to when they're an adult. There will be many, stages of it changing, along the way. And yet each step along the way of, the left leg's length changing, it happens at the same degree, the same length for the right one, right? Same with the arms, right? And so not only are there organized patterns to how the body develops, right? But then these organized patterns, right, can manifest in the variations that occur, even variations that are not found in the vast majority of individuals, right? And variations which can be inherited from parent to offspring, right? Therefore, meaning that for the evolution of the body, right, that the left side and the right side did not just need to totally independently evolve from scratch, right? They, for like the left side of the skeleton and the right side, they mostly evolved in unison. Most of the changes along the way happened in the same exact step for left and right? Because the variations themselves occur oftentimes bilaterally symmetrically, right? Also, even, with people that have like extra fingers, right, it will tend to happen both on the left side and the right side and happen in much the same way. Like if it's underdeveloped on the left side, the extra finger, then it would tend to be that way also on the right side. Whereas if the left one is fully developed, it would tend to be also fully developed on the right side, right? And so, and I mean, also because of how we see that like body part, like when a person, not only can a person develop like a whole extra finger, for example, but the extra finger can develop fully developed, right? So with the evolution of different body parts, it's not like, when tetrapods first evolved limbs, it had to first be like bone with no skin or muscle, and then in a later step, there's muscle on top, and then in a later step, there's skin on top. Each step of the way, there was bone, there was muscle. It was fully developed for that species. But what is fully developed for one species is not the same as another. There are plenty of parts that we have that other groups do not have, right? But each step of the way, our ancestors were fully developed for their species, right? And so, but if someone doesn't understand this, it would make them much more confused about evolution, and it would seem like it would have to happen in a much more haphazard way that could not produce our bodies as they are now, You know, I've seen creationists say things like, oh, the fossil record shows that there were never underdeveloped species. Every species that ever existed was fully developed. And it's like, yeah, that's what we expect, that every species would be fully developed for their species. There still are plenty of things that, like, oh, it's not like, oh, all of the parts of the human body are found in the body of a fish. You know, we can break it all down into a series of steps, but certain things like bilateral symmetry, as you know, there was a time when our ancestors were not bilaterally symmetrical. That's what we still see in some of the most primitive lineages of animals, like sponges, protozoans, comb jellies, jellyfish, right? But after the onset of bilateral symmetry, right, for certain parts of the body, like the skeleton, the eyes, most of the steps happened in unison, right? It didn't have to happen separately for left side and right side, right? And the body parts were fully developed in terms of, like, you know, as soon as there were like skin and blood vessels and muscles, all of that would be there as soon as a new body part was developed. You know, you wouldn't just have to have, like, oh, with the evolution of the tetrapod limbs, that like first it's just bone with no muscle or skin on top, and then in a later step there's muscle on top, and then in a later step there's skin on top. It's like as soon as they were evolved, there was already skin on top, there was already muscle. So every step of the way it was fully developed for that species, right? But it can still be broken down into a series of steps. It's not like, oh, all of the parts in the human body are in the body of a fish, and, you know, oh, you know, the human body, you know, it can't be broken down into like a series of steps that each works. I mean, no, there's plenty of intermediate forms. And we have a very good idea of the steps because of the nested hierarchical organization of living things. So we know, like, oh, these are the ones that happened in the ancestors of mammals. These are the ones that happened in the ancestors of tetrapods, vertebrates. We have a very good understanding of the sequence even because of the nested hierarchical organization of living things, how we see that living things are organized into groups, clades, like mammals, right? So, all right, that's all for now. See you guys.